Hello and welcome to your Mining Disrupt News Surge for Monday, December 9th, 2024. We're coming up on Christmas, but if you're a Bitcoiner, Christmas has already come early. You know what I'm talking about. It was all over the news. You know I'm going to be mentioning it. You know I've got to. But let's get some housekeeping out of the way. The other thing, besides Christmas, that is right around the corner is this, right here. I've talked about it in every episode for the last couple of months, but the Mining Disrupt Expo, get your tickets right there, happening in Fort Lauderdale, March 25th through the 27th, is going to be one of, if not the most monumental mining disrupt conferences, expos, gathering of like-minded individuals that has ever taken place. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, that's just one more reason why you need to go. If you have even a modicum of interest in the mining industry, you gotta go. It is unquestionably the place to go if you want to meet other Bitcoiners in the mining space. It is the only place to go where you're going to meet those people. And the poker party, come on, the poker party's there too. You can get those tickets lined up as you listen to me, and I'm going to go over the numbers, and you know it. Here it is. It's right there. We have broken 100,000. Keeps on diddling around a little bit below. It's got dropped under. It's up. It's over. It's right there. This seems to be the new floor. The other good news is that this number right over here, the hash rate, has never really been higher. It's at 744 exahash for the last 14 days. That's incredibly high. And right now we have almost more nodes than I have ever seen before. I don't know what the record is, but the most I've ever seen was 20,900 something. I thought it was going to go to 21. Maybe it will. But those nodes are what keep this network alive. Without the nodes, there's not much Bitcoin. Now, might still be out there on somebody's saved hard drive, whatever, but those nodes, we need those nodes. So that number needs to be talked about more. And hey, if you're a Bitcoiner and you've got Bitcoin, run your own node. I'm going to go ahead and jump over into the news, starting things off with Monday. I'm going to go ahead and jump over into the news, starting things off with Monday. We've got Dennis Porter here saying, I can now officially confirm and announce that 10 states will be introducing strategic Bitcoin reserves legislation here in the great United States of America. I'm going to be talking about that part right there, the states part, in greater detail, because I don't think many people understand what kind of advantage we have, but I'm going to save that for my opinion. We are going to win with Bitcoin. We will lead the world. No one will come close. The world will follow our lead. Tuesday, and this one, if you're a Bitcoin miner, you already know the importance of energy. If only there was a way to monetize excess electricity production. Nifty Nay is saying in response to the SF Gate, saying California can't use all of its solar power. That's a huge problem. And Tuesday, this is the other thing I'm going to be talking about in my opinion section. The world needs oil. Okay, I can agree with that. But no one needs Bitcoin. You might be surprised, but I actually agree with that one as well. And I'm going to explain what I mean in the opinion section. Wednesday was a pretty big news day. What an epic day of sound bites from the Bitcoin marketing team. Putin saying, who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody. Over here, we've got Fed Powell saying, it's just like gold, only it's virtual. Over in New York City, Eric Adams, mayor, saying, we should not be afraid of Bitcoin. And then the Chad himself, Michael Saylor, saying, Bitcoin represents the digital transformation of hundreds of trillions of dollars of capital. Also on Wednesday, showing how things can get out of hand real fast on the digital form of telephone. Wow, this app is crazy, says Mark Moss. For the record, on a Spaces call earlier tonight, while talking about institutional and sovereign Bitcoin adoption, I said at Saylor presented to Microsoft, and I think they are going to let him come back and make a full pitch. I think they're going to let him come back. I said that because I thought I saw this somewhere, but I do not have any insider information, nor was this a, quote, formal announcement, end quote, of this. Thursday, Bitcoin Magazine saying, fun fact, this $200 machine has the ability to mine 3.125 Bitcoin, or if you'd like that in USD terms, a bit over $300,000, but who's counting? At Lizard Wizard BTC, I do love that name, says, isn't it insane that there's a tight group of people on Twitter that are literally front-running 99.999% of the world on what is perhaps the biggest technological wave the human race has ever seen? This is real, and we're all living through it. Friday, W_S_Bitcoin, the Wicked Apple, says, missing just missing two best 24-hour periods of Bitcoin returns each year since 2014 would have completely wiped out the 12,964% gains you'd have made by simply hodling. I am reminded by those famous words of Odell's, stay humble, stack sats. And to round the week out, Saturday, Stack Hodler says the regret you feel for not stacking more Bitcoin under 100,000 is the same feeling you'll have for not stacking more under 1 million. Start treating 0.1 Bitcoin like it's a whole coin, because one day it's going to be as hard to stack 0.1 Bitcoin as it is to stack a whole coin today, and probably sooner than you think. I've got two things to talk about in the opinion section. The first one is this right here from Dennis Porter, him talking about the states and putting a real emphasis on the word states. I don't think that there's enough people talking about this very thing. The United States of America is unlike all of Europe, as to my knowledge. My geography is a little bit lacking, but I don't believe that France has states, or Germany has states, or the UK has states. I've never heard of the United States of Austria. They're just countries. And because they are an entire state unto themselves, they have all of the red tape and bureaucracy that we do in the US at the federal level. But we do not have the same red tape at the state level that we do at the federal level. Different states are far more nimble than the federal bureaucracy. And even more nimble than states are cities. And there are some cities in this country, the country that I call home, that have a higher GDP than some small countries. If those cities, not talking about states for the moment, cities adopt Bitcoin and do something, they put it on their balance sheet, they put it on their treasury, that could influence other states. Imagine the city of LA or the city of Chicago or New York City saying, you know what? We're going to start holding Bitcoin on our balance sheet. Here's the mayor, Eric Adams, talking about Bitcoin, holding Bitcoin, getting paid in Bitcoin. Maybe we should do that for the city. And then you might see Boston doing it. Then you might see the state of Iowa do it. Then you might see the state of Wyoming do it. And then it's just a matter of time before a really big state like Florida, Texas, or California, which have the GDP of many other major countries in the world, better than many major countries in the world. And once the states start moving, you would better believe the rest of the world wakes up. So we don't need a federal strategic Bitcoin reserve. We just need the states to move. And you had better believe the states can move faster than the federal government. And I'm willing to bet we're going to see that happen in the very near future. The second point is this right here. Calconite saying the world needs oil, but no one needs Bitcoin. And I know the thumbnail might seem a little bit clickbaity, and in a way it is, but in a way it's not. I agree. Nobody needs Bitcoin. The world doesn't need Bitcoin. There's not a single person on the planet that needs Bitcoin. What humanity needs is a good, hard, sound form of money. And until Bitcoin came along, we didn't have that. Gold it's okay. It had its time in the sun. It definitely has its flaws. You know the flaws. It's heavy. You can't transport it across the entire world at ease, at the speed of light. It's hard to verify. It has a lot of downsides. It had its time. We're done with gold. Gold's pretty. It's a fancy rock. If there was some magical rock that we could absorb into our bodies and everybody knew exactly how much of this rock existed, and there was only so much and there would never be more of it, and we all just knew that to the core of our being, like we know water is wet and fire is hot, and if you put your hand in one, it's not that big of a deal, and if you put your hand in the other, it's going to cause problems. If we knew that about this magical rock that we could transact with each other and absorb into our bodies and then materialize into crystals and pass, that would be a pretty good form of money. But that doesn't exist. But we have the next best thing. We have Bitcoin. So no, the world doesn't need Bitcoin. We need the best form of money that has ever existed, and that just so happens to be Bitcoin. Until next week.